Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning here at the atrium of Harrisburg City Hall. We have been making a concerted effort to turn this atrium into a place for civic engagement, discussion, cultural edification, you name it, and this continues in a whole series of events we've been hosting right here. We're pleased today to announce the publication of From Blight to Bright, which I got a sneak peek of the other day. It's a comprehensive toolkit, has a lot of valuable information. We'll have much discussion as we go forward. To set the stage, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Harrisburg's war on blight. It has been a priority since day one of this administration. We started with a reorganization of the codes department, placing it within public safety, giving it, I think, some greater strength and organizational skills. We then went out to develop a new housing strategy for the city, and for the first time with our CDBG funding, dedicated a larger portion than ever of that funding to demolition. We've been working with the county. We have a new strategy requiring anyone who wants to buy a property off the repository to be vetted in ways that they weren't vetted before. We reformed the tax sale this year and in future years by requiring potential bidders to sign a waiver, know which properties were really condemned properties, maybe all basic things, but even the act of plotting all of our condemned properties on a map had not yet been done up to this point when we took office. And as some of you may have seen, we took legislators on a blight tour of Harrisburg that looked at some of our older housing stock, also looked at some of the new challenges we're facing, like the 14th Street sinkhole, and we brought that map along, and we're in the process of trying to accumulate lots so that we can see them redeveloped. And I'm pleased to announce today that just last week we appointed new members to the Harrisburg Redevelopment Authority. They are going to be meeting, I believe, this week. Is that right, Brian? For the first time as a new group. So we have new energy, new enthusiasm on the Redevelopment Authority, and we established a brand new land bank for Harrisburg, which has 7 members, including the 5 from the Redevelopment Authority. We are moving, and the land bank is about to get started, and we're examining potential funding sources for that. On top of it all, we work with the judicial system, and we established a housing court for Harrisburg, and that has been working extremely well. So it is an honor here to continue that conversation and host this summit, this forum here today. I'll even say one more thing, which is that over the weekend, we had a different forum and a different summit, but it was also about Blight to Bright. It was about murals in Harrisburg. It was about transforming public spaces into beautiful spaces, literally changing the way people perceive their neighborhoods in Harrisburg. A successful new mural was dedicated over what was sort of a blighted wall, and there was still graffiti left in the corner, I think, to symbolize what the wall used to be over the weekend near the neighborhood center on 3rd Street here in Harrisburg. Beautiful mural talking about the promise of the future. The kids that were in the mural came to the mural dedication, and it was a wonderful day. So it's an honor to see you all here. Welcome to the atrium, and with that, I shall turn it over to, I guess, Elizabeth for some additional remarks. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's fine.
Monday morning, all of our brains aren't functioning quite as quickly as they will be shortly. Thank you all for being here this morning. I'm Liz Hirsch. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Alliance of Pennsylvania. The Housing Alliance is very pleased to be releasing From Blight to Bright, a comprehensive toolkit for Pennsylvania. As the mayor mentioned, there's been a lot of attention given to land banking and creating modern land recycling systems. As we know, if you're a developer, a nonprofit, a community resident, you see those vacant lots and those blighted properties and you think, boy, if I could get my hands on that thing, I could demolish it, I could fix it up, I could build a business here, but you just can't. And so having a land bank to get clear title, to take care of the liens, and to get that property back into productive reuse and back onto market is paramount. So we're very excited that both Harrisburg and Dauphin counties have adopted land banks. We now have 7 land banks in the Commonwealth and many more in the pipeline. But land banks alone cannot solve blight. We have to have a three-pronged strategy. Land recycling or land banking is one, and it complements the efforts of the redevelopment authorities, may even be another tool for them. But another thing that we have to do is there has to be property maintenance code enforcement. You have to have a really strong property maintenance code, and you have to enforce it. We have to change the culture and say, we will not tolerate blight. If you own a property that is not up to code, you will have an opportunity to fix it up. We'll try to do what we can. But if you have the assets and you simply are not fulfilling your responsibility, then we will throw down the book at you, and we will make it very expensive for you to maintain this property in blighted condition, because it brings down all the adjacent property values. The third leg of the stool is you have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy. What are you going to do with this land? Is it going to be more housing? Is your population going to grow? Is it going to be stormwater management? Is it going to be gardens? Is it going to be side yards so that somebody can extend their little property to be twice the size? So there has to be some kind of investment strategy. Those are the three prongs that we have to work on to bring people back into our older communities and to tackle blight. Blight to Bright, the subject of today's forum is to talk about that code enforcement strategy. What do you do? How do you do it? Now, we're here in Harrisburg. The legislature is coming back today. Boy, don't we love to talk about how much we hate them and how much they don't do. Well, let me tell you, Blight to Bright is the example of what they have done right. Over the last 10 or 12 years, this legislature has worked in a bipartisan way through a series of governors to give local communities very powerful tools to tackle blight. And we discovered, after having worked to create a lot of these tools, that many communities didn't know about them, or they didn't have the source documents to be able to implement them, and to get the solicitors on board was very expensive, and we found we kept reinventing the wheel. So we created Blight to Bright to give local communities a roadmap to make it as easy as possible, a just add water, if you will, recipe book for creating and enforcing a property maintenance code so that you can have zero tolerance for blight. Of course, it's much harder than it looks. It's more than just having a book, but this is one step forward to make the job a little easier. So we're really pleased to be here. We have a few more remarks, and then we're going to turn it over to Karen Black, who actually put this thing together and made it comprehensible. And she's going to go through some of these tools so that at the end of that presentation, you'll have a sense of what they are. And then we have Jackie Parker and Brian Davis right from here in Harrisburg to talk about what does this mean at the local level. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our state partners, Brian Hudson from the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency and Peter Zug from the Department of Community and Economic Development. And thank you so much, all of you, for being here today.
Thank you, Liz. My name is Brian Hudson. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to be part of this initiative. I am the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, and we're certainly pleased to be participating. As you may know, PHFA over the years has made significant investments in Harrisburg, and I think what you'll hear here this morning is some tools that can help revitalize the cities. Some of these same tools we've used all over the Commonwealth to revitalize cities across the Commonwealth. PHFA has made investments in Uptown Harrisburg with Capitol Heights, Midtown with the Hack Center, and also in the Allison Hill sector. So we're looking forward to bringing back some of those resources to help our capital city, if you will. We're pleased to be part of this initiative. And Liz, thank you for all of your work that you've done, and Peter and our partnership here to help revitalize Harrisburg. We know that blight pulls down property values, destroys communities, but we want to pull some national models that work and bring them right here to our capital city. So thank you for the opportunity, and looking forward to working with our partners there. Thank you very much.
Good morning. As the Executive Director of the Governor's Center for Local Government, I am honored to be here today on behalf of the Corbett administration to support the Blight to Bright initiative. Under the Governor's leadership, the Governor's Center for Local Government Service, housed within DCED, has worked tirelessly to be proactive on an approach to provide resources to Pennsylvania's communities. We have ramped up training partnerships and moved into the 21st century on online training and webinars. We are now accepting online filings for certain online filing requirements, and we're moving and monitoring the fiscal health of our communities through the implementation of an early warning system. But perhaps the most important thing we are doing is listening. We are traveling to communities throughout the state and learning firsthand what the needs of our regions and our local officials in those regions are. One of the areas of concern that has come up time and time again is blight. To begin the long and challenging process of tackling blight, the Governor's Center for Local Government Services has partnered with the Pennsylvania Housing Alliance to equip our local leaders with a comprehensive toolkit created to fight blight in their communities. Through our partnership with the Alliance, we have facilitated access to valuable training materials as well as on-site